Hey. Ooh. Ready to get your whole life together with growing, healing, and shit. Welcome to Growing, Healing, and Shit.
Oh gosh. And shit. Growing, healing, and shit.
You can say the S word, Asia.
That's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen.
Hey y'all, welcome to
What do you think's gonna happen? Like, do you think you're gonna get struck by lightning or something?
I don't know. I'm just not naturally a cursor. Therefore, I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah, true.
Anyway, welcome to another episode of Growing, Healing, and Shit. I am Mary.
Asia.
I'm T.
So today's episode, we are going to be discussing unavailable men.
Right.
What are so many thoughts, obviously, but what are some of you guys' thoughts on unavailable ass niggas?
Who going first?
So when we started talking about this topic, I realized that a lot of my relationships have started off with unavailable men. And I think it mainly has to do more with me than it does with them. Because I feel like I saw unavailable men as a challenge. And I realized that I had issues with boundaries.
So wait, you saw them as a challenge. Did that entice you?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Maybe that's what gets all of us, honestly. Like, maybe we feel like that's where the passion and excitement comes from, and it's boring.
I mean, it is exciting. You know what I mean? Like, doing shit you're not supposed to do is exciting to me. So that's why I'm saying, like, but I finally finished that book on boundaries, that it has something to do with me and how I view boundaries and my respect for them, and even as far as like creating them. Like, that's something that should have turned me off. Like, oh, you're emotionally unavailable, you're already with somebody, you are not completely cut off from somebody, so I should not pursue you. But that's always been the exact opposite.
Wow.
Of how a lot of my relationships have started.
Wow. You know, I think a lot of other women probably also share that sentiment. We just don't realize it.
We don't talk about it. It's embarrassing as fuck to be like, oh, I know this
so
nigga
embarrassing.
is not emotional. I know this nigga is not emotionally available for me, but I'm going to keep pursuing him because it's easier and it's less vulnerable to pursue a nigga I already know is not available compared to a nigga who I do know is available and he turns me down.
Wait, hold on. That sounds so dysfunctional. I don't get it.
It's dysfunctional as fuck.
No, but I don't get it.
It's dysfunctional as fuck. Okay, so I can pursue a dude who I know has a girlfriend, but he's checking for me. So it's not like I go checking for niggas who are completely committed to their girlfriend. Niggas who are not completely committed to their girlfriend or whoever they're with, we somehow run into each other and boundaries are crossed. He crosses a boundary, I don't say nothing. I cross the boundary, he don't say nothing. So it escalates. But it's easier for me to fuck with him and know I'm not going to get 100% than to fuck with a nigga who I expect 100% from and he fails me. You understand?
Okay. So why? Okay. So you feel like with the person who's unavailable, the disappointment is less?
Yes.
Then
it's expected.
How is that possible to be going through so much?
This disappointment is expected.
The disappointment is expected?
So it's like you're not really setting yourself up for failure.
For failure.
You know down the road it's going to happen.
It's gonna
so it makes the blow hurt less.
Right. So it's just like me going to it's just like me going to 99 cent store, right? And I got the money to go to 99 cent store. But if I go to Louis, my shit might get declined because I ain't got the money to go to Louis. So you see what I'm saying? Like I can take the 99 the dollar shit because I know that I can afford the dollar shit. But when I shoot above what I feel like I'm worth, and we talked about this, like dating men who I feel like are smarter than me is intimidating to me. Dating out of
I
my
said that,
league
and
is
that blows my
intimidating. It's
mind.
intimidating to me because I do not feel like I'm worth being with the person who's smarter than me or who makes more money than me. Well, that's how I used to feel. So I would date lower. Hence the reason I would date emotionally unavailable men, because of how I felt about myself. And that's why I said that earlier. Me going after emotional unavailable men has more to do with Thea than it does to do with the niggas that I'm dealing with, because it's emotional available niggas out here. I just don't think I'm worth an emotional available man. So I go
Mm.
after the low hanging fruit because it's easy.
Okay,
The
okay,
same way
okay.
men
So
do. Men do the
Right.
exact same
They
thing.
do the exact same shit.
so it's about the vulnerability that you would have to give to a available man that you're not really ready to
Right.
do.
That I would
Got
have to
you.
expose myself 100%. He would really be interested in me. He would really want to get to
Right.
know me, and I don't exposing that much of myself is uncomfortable.
Mm.
Because at that point, if I give you all that information, what are you gonna do with it? Because I've dealt with
Hurt
a
you.
dude, right? I've dealt with a dude who I've told him a lot of shit that not a lot of people know about me, and he's thrown it back in my face. So I feel safer dealing with niggas who I know aren't emotionally available, because I could tell them my deepest, darkest secrets, but they not gonna fucking remember because they emotionally unavailable.
This is so interesting. Mm.
It's
You
blowing
know
my
something
mind.
too? I when you were talking, it made me think about the fact that when you do, like you said, chase after an unavailable man, it gives you that control of the narrative
Yeah.
of that relationship.
Mm.
You
Yes.
know, in a
Yes.
sense, you're kind of already setting yourself to sabotage that
It's
relationship.
already sabotage.
Already.
They're
Right,
emotionally
right.
unavailable. So I can't expect 100 from them because I never got 100 in the first place, and they're not capable because
So,
they're not emotionally available.
but this is the disconnect from me. I
Okay.
mean, for me, the disconnect is that yes, we get it. It still creates it. We're going. We have certain needs that we need to be filled or whatever like that. But like, why are you? What's confusing me is that what's the difference between how long we cling to that? So now you're saying, you know, like you protect yourself. They're like, you know what I'm saying? You're not as vulnerable. Like there's something that you're not going as deep, but yet we cling to it so hard. And it's hard to let go, or we stick with them while we get nothing, but yet, oh, we protected ourselves, but we wasted years. So you see where I'm saying it feels like a contradiction.
So, two things. It's not hard to let go once you decide to let go. So you have to come up with that decision. It's not like this overly deep connection with an unavailable man that just doesn't exist. It's you giving and hoping and wishing that it's going to work out, even though it's not reciprocated. So that's why it's not hard to let go of once you finally do. Because if it is hard for you to let go, you are addicted to the routine.
Yep.
You are addicted to the feeling of somebody. You're not addicted to that
Yep.
person. It's
Not
not
at
that
all. You
person.
know that
It's
person's
the
Mm.
fucking
action.
trash.
Yeah, it's the action. It's the having someone. It's and all of that is more important than how
Mm.
unavailable this nigga is.
It's the at least I got a man.
It's
It's
I
all of
got
that.
a man. It's I got somebody waiting for me. It's I got somebody relying on me. It's I got somebody needing me. And a lot of women have the need to please, and that fills a lot more voids than this nigga being emotionally unavailable.
Bam.
Wow, you just opened up my eyes on all of that.
Yeah.
So basically, it was more like when you are addicted or when you're chasing, it's more about the presence.
Yes.
Right. Because
Okay, okay.
if that person, we're not going to gender it, if that person knew how to stand on their own, they wouldn't even be chasing an emotionally unavailable person.
Right.
But they
Right.
don't. So they're going to consistently try to find this person who's emotionally unavailable, find this person. And then the thing that attracted me to emotionally unavailable men is seeing them being emotionally available to other women. So the fact that they were already
Wow.
in that process, it was
Oh
like,
shit.
oh, you know how to do this. Cool. Let me go ahead and just swap that shit.
Damn.
But it wasn't for Thea, it was for whoever that was. And so I end up, remember I told y'all my relationships always start off fast, get burnt out sexually, and then it's just like
You
there's never
really
any
said that.
it's no
And now it
foundation
makes
built
sense.
because I go after emotionally unavailable men. And I think it has to do with the fact that my dad wasn't consistently around, wasn't around ever. So I don't know, or I didn't know, I know now, I did not know how to recognize real, genuine male affection, sexual male affection, and just something physical. Like there's to me, there's something a difference between sexual and physical. Because physical is like, oh, I want to fuck you.
Right.
Sexual is like the sexual chemistry is between the both of us. Like we both want each other, and then that escalates into something else, and then we feel like we are so in love with each other because there's all this sexual chemistry and lust, and we end up in a relationship and the shit burns out fast, and then we stay after the shit's burned out because we've already made that commitment to each other. That has been a lot of my relationships.
Go ahead, Mary.
Wow. Shit.
Because I heard a lot of oohs and ahs while she was talking.
No,
I'm like,
it was,
she got something to say.
No, I didn't. I was just the revelation of all that. It fucking makes sense why women be with these trash ass men just to say they have a man, but it's knowing that man is trash and that
Knowing
he's
he's
emotionally
trash.
available,
Knowing he's trash.
but staying because it's like, okay, well, I'm trying to chase this thing, or I'm trying to turn you into a better person, or whatever the fucking reason, whatever the reason.
Right, trying to fix them.
Girl, I don't know. You just said a mouthful though, like.
Yeah. And I think, and like she said, it's like we end up, that's everything that she said is really what's working. That's the process, like under the surface. And then on top of the surface, I guess consciously, we over here like, yeah, he's going to be this person. Once he gets to this point, he's going to be good. Because,
Right.
this is me. This is my life. Freaking, freaking trying to fix them, mother them, you know what I'm saying? Thinking that you can love them to get to where you want them to go, you know what I'm saying? So I guess it's more like, even though that's really what filling the voids by trying to say that we're a good person or we're doing something for them or we're giving them 100% and all this stuff, because it really seems like you love this person, you know what I'm saying, with everything, but really it's just like it's so crazy, the contradiction.
Yes.
Right. It's like you feel like you're doing this for them, but really it's for you.
Right.
It's all for your ego. It don't
That's
have
why they ask
shit
don't
to
even
do
be
with
in a
them.
relationship in the first place. They ask
Right.
me out having other families and other girlfriends and cheating on your dumb ass while you up here thinking this shit is working or that he'll change eventually. No.
Yeah, that you're doing all this work for him, but in reality, it's not for him because he doesn't give a fuck. You're not breaking your back for him. He don't like. He does. There is no connection,
Right, they
as
don't
far
be
as like
caring.
it's as far as your sacrifices and how it relates to him. It's a disconnect because it's not for him. It's for
Right.
you. It's so that you can feel like I'm doing better. I'm doing good. I'm showing my love by breaking my back and all this type of things. But in reality, he never even asked you to do any of those things.
Nope.
You volunteered those things.
And he don't give a
Right.
fuck.
He
They
don't
be
give a
saying
fuck.
that
Never
too.
will.
And
They
that's
be
why you're
saying that.
and that's why you're burnt out, and now you're crying, and you done, whatever the fuck, you done got this nigga a car and put his name on your lease or whatever the fuck, and now
Girl.
he's not doing shit, and you up here crying, but it's like, yo, he showed you he wasn't doing shit,
He did.
and now you're even more like you're in a hole deeper than you planned on being, all so you can say you have somebody.
Right. And that's honestly, I feel like, and that's what I was saying on our last podcast, I feel like it's all, like you said, a cover up, because at the end of the day, it's like you're pouring all this stuff onto another person and you're not even pouring it into yourself. Like,
Right.
you really think that, oh, like, I'm a good person, or I look at how I love. Like you create, like you said, it's like the ego saying like, look at what I can do. Look at what I can do. And it's just all a distraction because you're chasing after the thing that you really want to give yourself, but you're just projecting. So
Yeah.
that definitely
Yeah,
makes sense.
you're projecting what you want out of the person that you're with. And
Right.
you know the person is not capable of giving you that, hence the overdrive, right? Hence
Right.
Mm-hmm.
the hard working, hence all the extra shit, because you know. Like with my ex, I knew this nigga was not gonna make enough money to take care of me at all. I knew. And in my mind, I was like, okay, if I make more money, we could do X, Y, and Z. Like I knew. And I still was okay with having this trash ass nigga by my side in order because I loved him. And
Mm.
in order to say I loved him, it was like, okay, well, I love him. So let me compensate for his lack. But it's
Right.
like after a certain point, you just compensating 100%, and this nigga is doing absolutely nothing.
Compensating all by your damn self.
Yep.
Right. Mm.
Hence why women will also be in trash ass relationships, but be propping this nigga up like, oh, he does this, this, and that, and he helps me with this, this, and that. Some of it probably be a fucking lie, for real.
Oh, it's definitely a lie. A lie to themselves. They die with the lie. You gotta
Girl.
die with the lie. And then when this nigga end up trash, like everybody knew he was, then
Like
what?
we already fucking knew.
We knew
Now
he
you
was
don't want to tell.
trash.
Now you don't want to tell nobody though.
I'm crying.
Now you can't talk about it. Well, we already knew it was gonna happen though.
Cause you put this nigga on a pedestal that he didn't even deserve to be
A
on.
whole fucking pedestal. Sis, put your fucking self on a pedestal. How about that?
Mm. It's so interesting because it's like so many women that I know is really like they're really going through this same thing, just being a position of chasing men. And it's like, wow, like we don't even really realize what's truly going on. And we're making it all about them. We're
Yeah.
making it all about them.
All about them. And
We're
it's like,
As if they
missing it.
care. They
We're
don't
they
missing
care.
don't
it.
give a
We're the only
fuck.
ones that care. It's
I
so funny.
The thing is, though, the funny thing is that the men are such an example of how we should be, and because they're
Girl.
supposed to be
Yes.
chasing us,
Girl.
they're supposed to
Yes.
be chasing us, but they're mimicking how we're supposed to be, and
Right.
But
we're just
they're mimicking how we're supposed to be. I think they're just responding to us. These niggas ain't that fucking brilliant. They're just responding to us. Oh, I told you I don't have. I told you I couldn't afford where I stay. You offered to come for me to come fucking stay with you. Like
mm,
bitches are out here overcompensating because they
Oh,
want somebody.
overcompensating.
They're responding to us. Like
right,
if somebody told, I'm not gonna say me because I've done the stupid shit too, but somebody told a strong person who's like, no, I'm not fucking taking care of no man, that same scenario, that nigga would be where the fuck he at. Period.
Yeah.
But if you feel like I need somebody, you're gonna overcompensate. So you're gonna respond. Men know how to chase women. They do
right.
it all the time.
All
This
the
shit
time.
is a they it's a born behavior.
It is
They know how to do
ingrained
it.
in
It's
them.
ingrained in them. But the moment that you seem overly interested, are overly committed to a nigga who ain't done shit to you, he gonna milk you. Period.
Mm.
Straight up.
Cause
Cause you
niggas is
allowing
out
yourself to
here,
be taken advantage
you
of.
allowing yourself to be milked. A, B, niggas are hustlers. Like period. Like if they need to bounce around, if they need to fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, to get his car note paid, to have a roof over his head, and to put gas in his car, he will fuck 3 bitches at one time to get his shit done. Period.
Mm.
So, but it's women out here being used by emotionally unavailable men. So they end up in scenarios where they are just being used. And they don't even know how it happened, but it's because
Oh, I
they
know
did
how it
not
happens.
I mean, I know how it happened too, but there are women out here who are not self-reflective enough to
Facts.
understand you're
Right.
being used, sis. Like, regardless of what, no matter what pedestal you put him on, you're still being used.
They're gonna be
And
like that girl, Gucci wife, sitting there waiting to the day where he changed.
Yikes. Because you know what?
No.
It feels good, and it feels good to be used in the beginning. You know, in the back of your mind, women,
Oh,
our intuition is
definitely.
always on point. We know when we're being used, but in the
We know.
beginning,
We
it feels
know.
good. That fairy tale
I
feels
don't think I
so
knew that I
fucking
was
good.
being used in the beginning. How y'all know?
I knew, but it
What
felt
what
good. Okay, well,
what was the sign?
I can only speak for Mary. All right, but the
Okay.
sign for me, first of all, it felt good to be able to say I had a man.
Mhm.
And you had
Um,
somebody, and it was consistent.
and they were consistent, even though they were only halfway present and not emotionally available. It still felt good to say I had somebody. But I knew I was being used because deep down the shit didn't feel right. It didn't feel right. It just
Hmm.
didn't. We know when something is off. We know whenever we don't, even if we do get that tingle or that spark, you still know something's not right. And that shit will be gnawing at you. It will gnaw at you. That shit ate me alive. Maybe it's just me. Maybe my intuition is just different. I don't know. But that for me, that's how it felt until it was to
Hmm.
the point where it was overwhelming. It was like, sis, it was like,
But wait, what?
eh.
What was it that you saw to make you? You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like you general, or unless you just wanted to be general. But I kind of like really wanted to understand.
So what do you mean?
So you're saying something was nudging you. I'm guessing for you it was like a red flag. What was the red flag, or what was happening to nudge you that bad to where you were that aware, but you just didn't
So
care?
the biggest red flag for me was what I told you on, when we were talking around New Year's Eve. The biggest red flag for me was never seeing emotion whatsoever.
Okay.
So people aren't wired to just not show emotion. Not showing any type of emotion is a learned behavior.
Right.
And the only people that are out here not showing any type of emotion, those people have on masks because they don't want you to get too close. They don't want you to break through their armor for whatever reason. And you can't connect deeper with someone if you're not even able to see who they are under the mask, or if you're not able to chip away at that armor. So for me, the fact that I wasn't connecting with this person on an emotional level, y'all know I'm a very emotional person to begin with. So if I'm not connecting with you on any type of emotional level, even on a sexual level, if there's no emotion in the sex, it just to me it just didn't feel right, and that was
Right.
that
That's
was my biggest
blah.
indicator.
Yeah, that's blah. I can see that though. That's
Deep
that.
down it did feel blah, but again, the insecure little girl in me just wanted to be able to say I had a man.
Right. Yeah, that's an extremity.
Yeah.
Definitely. But I also feel like for you, in regards to you not seeing that, like you said before, that just showed that the amount. Okay, so for him not to have any emotions at all shows how disconnected you were with yourself to be with him.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that makes sense. Shoot,
But
even me.
that was also before my healing. I also wasn't in a space to even begin to heal, honestly. Like I just wanted to go from a relationship to, okay, now I'm single, but even though I'm single, all I can think about is my next relationship. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So even though before him I was single and celibate, I wasn't pouring into myself as I should have been. So when he came along, I felt like I was ready, but I also didn't have that insight into myself, let alone insight into people, period, to be able, yeah, to
Ooh.
be able to see like, oh no, sis, this ain't it. So that's
Right. So
why
you didn't
my
even know
intuition,
what it really was.
no, not at all. So that's why my intuition was going off for so long. And that's why I was around and around in
Wow.
circles for so long until I just finally gave into my intuition.
So you just you just sparked something in me. So freaking what happened? So basically recently I reconnected with a friend that I had cut off. I'm the cutoff queen, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I'm the cutoff queen. I was the cutoff queen because, like I told y'all, I basically avoided pain at all costs and stuff. So basically, once I figured out why I cut this person off, like I reached out to her and apologized, and she has some perspectives for me. Even though like with my relationship, I have like the way that I saw it and the way that I experienced it, and even in reflecting about it, I can say, oh, this is what I did, such and such. But she gave me a truth that kind of was hard to accept, even though I believed it. Like I already knew that it was true. So basically what she said was that, you know, the type of friend that she is, like she's the type of friend that I am to y'all. Like I give 100%. And I feel like, you know what I'm saying, I want to grow, and I tell y'all stuff, or I tell y'all what I see about y'all situation or about you, to help you to see it so that you can grow as well. And she said that when I was in my relationship, that all I did at some point was talk about my relationship. To the point where she felt like anytime she would have conversations with me, it would go back towards my relationship.
Lord.
And at some point, she was saying like she could see, she even from the start, she saw all these red flags. And I would tell her I would tell her everything about my relationship, and she would be like, wait, hold up, look at this though, look at that. And I'd be like, and you know, I'm just like brushing past it. And she was like, to the point that like she would see me start to lose myself over and over. Like she was like, I remember telling her, and she remembers telling me like, Asia, I could feel you becoming shaky. And I told her, I honestly feel like I'm losing the foundation of who I am. I can feel myself wavering. Like I've been this grounded person for as long as I've known, and I can feel me losing myself due to the relationship that I'm in. But I kept chasing it. Like I couldn't stop how I felt, even though I was losing myself. I still wanted it. And for her, she felt like at some point she didn't know me. So I hadn't spoken to her for 2 years. She said she didn't know me for 4 years. And she told me that at some point, like, we would have all these conversations where we would break chains and have perspective and grow. But she realized that I couldn't go deep anymore. She was like, Asia, you couldn't go deep. Like, I couldn't even come to you about my life because you didn't even have the room. Because in order for you to connect to me, you would have had to connect to yourself. And in order to be in this relationship, you had to disconnect from your knowing. And I was like, me? I couldn't go deep?
Nah, because you was deep up that nigga ass. Nah, just playing.
No, he was deep up in you.
Girl, and now y'all know when somebody say that to me.
Right.
That is what I say. That is what I say. But I knew it. As soon as she said that, I was like, yo, did I have to disconnect from my knowing to be with this man? Like, I had to disconnect so I didn't take the red flags, like, to my heart.
Yeah.
Like, period. And I was just like, wow.
I think when we get so enamored with someone and the thought of having someone, there's some type of filter that doesn't even allow us to see red flags at some point. Because ain't no fucking, like, I'll give it to the average woman that she's pretty intelligent, right? We just become so dumb when we just start to feel a way about a man. And it's like, how? Why?
Right. It was so completely different than who I was. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just so completely different. And just even like even you, T, when you said I could see the separation of who I used to be. You know what I'm saying? It's like we let them seep into us and take our foundation from us of who we freaking are. And we just give it away. We give it away. Like, we sacrifice our whole soul for these men. The men who aren't even worthy, just because we don't feel like we're worthy. Like, I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's 100% what it
That is
is. I
why.
feel like society wise, and I mean, me and Mary talked about this. Like, society makes it seem like a woman is nothing unless they have a man, and a man is fine by himself. But that's not
Right.
what women are taught, and so women feel like they have to compromise and do this and do that in order to have somebody by their side in order for them to feel okay. And in
Right.
reality, we don't need them; they need us. And
Girl.
we aren't taught that though, because if we were taught that, then shit would
We'd
The
be
be
game would be
completely,
gone.
the game
so
The
would
much better
game would
off.
be gone.
be gone.
We'd be
Okay, do you
so
hear
much
me? It
better
would be
off.
gone. Even I talked to one of my best friends, and she's dating right now, and she feels bad about going on more than one date with a different guy than with two different guys.
Sis
And
is
I'm
doing
just
exactly
like,
what she needs to be
you're
doing.
supposed to be doing that because you're single, but that is not what we are taught. We are
Right.
taught like,
Right.
oh, date one guy and see what happens and blah blah blah. But then that fucks up it fucks up what we want, and it goes into what they want, because at that point they're dating multiple people. We're not. So
Right.
when you
Right.
do that, you lose the battle already, because you're thinking
Right.
he's gonna be forever. And we talked about this in the last podcast. Like, you think this one nigga's gonna be forever because you ain't talking to no other niggas. You
Triggered.
don't
Right.
know.
Triggered.
You
Expectations
don't
go up.
know what else is gonna be going. You don't know what's better because you're
Nope.
not even out there looking for it. You're not
Nope.
even
Right.
requiring it because you got this one nigga who's giving you your basic shit. And that's
Yeah.
why I ended up with my ex, because he was basic as fuck, and he did the basic shit that I required from a
Basic
dude,
ass
and that
But he
bitch.
the only one giving
but
you
he
the
was the
energy.
only one giving me the energy, the basic energy that I asked for, and that's where I ended up. But if I was doing talking to multiple
Comparing.
men and comparing them, then I wouldn't have ended up with the scraps. So we have to
Right.
understand that
Ooh,
we
not the
are
scratch.
Ended up with the scraps. Y'all know that
Ooh.
speaking right. Ended up
we
with the scraps.
Ooh.
we are the prize, and
Bro.
we as women add and multiply anything that is given to us. That is our talent, period.
Facts.
And
It's biology.
it's literally biology, like literally. So it's like, once
I'm
we
crying.
understand and put self value in us, and put value into knowing that we deserve emotional available men, we deserve men who's going to pay attention to us and give us the things that we need. But also, we have to understand that we can be that person for ourselves. And I feel like a lot of women don't ever have that alone time to even know.
We're never even
Yeah.
fucking taught that. Even when we do get the
we're
alone
we're
time,
we're
up
we're
until
not taught that. It's
we're
like, oh,
not.
get under one dude to get over another.
And
Right.
that is such a trash way. That's such a trash
Bruh.
But
But it's
mentality.
that
literally how
It
we
it's the
doesn't work.
same.
function.
It's
It
not
so
even
doesn't work.
it's not even how women function. It's a saying across the board, because that's how niggas function.
Right.
Like,
It
Which
doesn't
is
like
work for
my
ask
thing
them.
though.
ask
I
the
know it
dude
doesn't work for them.
ask the
But
dude when's the last time you have not been talking or fucking anybody.
Right.
They're gonna say when they were 7.
Yup.
I'm crying.
But dead ass though. Dead
No,
They're
but
gonna
ass.
like,
say 8 or
who gave
9
them the book?
because
Like,
it's so like I feel like the difference between men and women is that older men talk to young niggas. I feel like that is the difference. Older women do not school younger women on how to date.
No.
Or if they
right.
do, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. There's only one or two options. If they say some shit, they don't know what they're talking about. If they do, and it's either they do say some shit, they don't know what they're talking about, or they don't say anything.
Or
I
they
I
bitter.
also think that this book that you're talking about, the book or whatever, it was written for men. It wasn't written for women. So the men, the way that older men are able to school younger men is because they all have this same raggedy ass playbook. But we're written in that playbook to be the fucking servants. And that's why older women can't talk to younger women and school us about it because we're not supposed to have that knowledge. We're
And
supposed to be the servants.
Yeah, and then also the domestic, like, you know what I'm saying? Just women contributing to showing like well, I don't know. I don't want to say that because our moms were already doing stuff that they've been doing. So it's like we didn't really see them get their man. We just saw
I
the
know
aftermath.
we
So
just popped up after the fact.
like we just literally saw, oh, my mom was cooking, so that means to keep a man I gotta cook. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like
Oh,
we
got you. Yeah.
we missed the whole chasing part. Like, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So that's
We
the
didn't
only
see them get
education we got.
pursued.
Right.
But the thing is, I saw my mom get pursued, but I was like, again, I have a rebellious nature, and I felt like the way she was doing it was not right. But I was wrong. She was right.
So fucking wrong.
Yeah, because
Your
we
mom got a copy of the book.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, oh yeah. She knew what was up, but I was so rebellious. Like, no, you shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't do this. You like, you know what I mean? Like, but
it was the fairy tale though. All the fairy tales
exactly,
tell us there's one person, the prince, the soulmate, all of
and
these
my
things.
mom did the opposite of that shit. So I think
I
that
love
may
it.
be what it was. That may have been like where the contradiction came from because I saw it on TV being one way and my mom was
Right.
doing it the completely opposite way.
But
And I was just like,
honestly,
no, no, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. Like my childlike mind, that's
Mm-hmm.
how I processed it.
she was way more effective than the one after the. Because now every time we picking one person, that jump take up to freaking 4 years.
It's always a failure. Always.
It's a failure. I literally sent my friend a article about how we should be dating more than one man when we're dating.
Always.
More than one man.
Always.
Right. Because at least we have more knowing than them. They out here really stretching as far as they can go. Like, yeah, so
Girl,
we're not moving in.
Right.
We're not getting engaged until I really know for sure
Yeah.
that this is who I really want. And it's like, it's
As
me.
they should though. They should be
It's
doing
me.
that.
Be having the rushed energy and everything. We making sure that we get the end result. And it's like the funny thing is too, like I listen to so many people who, of course, like I don't, even if I wasn't, you know what I'm saying, with my man, I probably would still have that fairy tale vibe of saying like, ooh,
Oh
like to
girl,
be married and
absolutely.
you know what I'm saying? But it's like it's such a rushed energy now that women are just like, well, I'm not married yet. Like, I'm waiting. Like, what's up? Like, if you can't, we can't get engaged in this time period. If we can't get married at this time period, and after being married, it's like, girl, is it a prize? Like,
Same. Same. Cause like I
like,
want a husband, but I don't want one like the one y'all got. Shit.
like, it's just more of saying like, not even that. It's just saying like people don't know what's beyond the marriage, what's
Right.
beyond
right.
living together. It's like they're rushing to get to a place that they don't even know about, that they don't even know will
Right.
amplify whatever issues that they already have, because they think that it's going to solidify something. They think that whether it's a kid, marriage, living together means that they're securing their spot, when really, you know what I'm saying, you're rushing to get to a place, you becoming somebody that you're not, and you're driving home something that that person may not even feel like y'all are ready for, but they may be doing it for a temporary thing for you, and you're going to realize that all the stuff that you felt would make y'all solid is really pushing y'all apart.
Yep.
Right. But that's
So,
all because the wedding is seen as the prize, the rock in the wedding. Like once you get that,
girl,
then motherfuckers don't be knowing what to do. That's why the
we
shit
need to
don't
write a
work.
book that says what happens after happily ever after. Shoot.
Right. First of all,
'Cause,
happily ever after ain't even a thing. First of all,
It's really not a thing.
like the wedding and
girl,
the engagement and the wedding is the easiest fucking part. Then after that, it's like, oh shit, this is real.
it's a whole day. It's a day, and it's like, y'all, what do y'all think? And that's what I'm saying. It's like people look at it as like a life and death thing. Like, oh, well, after the wedding, then nothing happens. It's like, y'all,
Like,
it's still your relationship. Like,
right.
I played no games with mine. I treated mine like it was the same old relationship. Like, ooh, boy, you can still go. Like,
Same. That's why we not married no more.
like, shoot. What you thought?
Same.
What you thought this was? So what? I signed the whole contract. Okay.
Right.
So freaking what?
For
Like,
real. All right, so thank you everybody for joining us for our second podcast episode about unavailable men folk. You can find us on all our social medias, Growing Healing and Shit, SHXT. That is us on Instagram and on Facebook. On Twitter, we are Growing Shit, SHX. Why are you
why
laughing?
is it called that? But you know, because
That's the name that Twitter suggested.
bro, every something's meant to. And this girl gonna tell something you ended. You definitely ended it, okay? Freaking, I cannot. But yes,
Right.
thanks for freaking listening to Growing, Healing, and
Thanks for freaking listening. You
Bye.
are so Jersey. Bye, y'all. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.